Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Chang and I'm the Secretary of International Student Mentorship Program, or ISMP. We're glad you could join us today. So what is ISMP? ISMP is an educational nonprofit organization. Our mission is to connect international students with American mentors, and we operate in universities throughout the United States. We have a network of volunteer mentors who meet regularly with students through in-person or virtual meetings, building strong relationships with students and guiding students through college, graduate school, and even after graduation. To give you a better idea of what we do and why we do what we do, we've prepared this short video.
We wanted to start the International Student Mentorship Program after meeting many international undergrad and grad students over the years who came to America to study. Going to a foreign country and all the changes that come with it bring a lot of challenges that need extra guidance. My name is Jessica and I am the president of ISMP. I came to America as an international student, having grown up in Indonesia. Even though English was my first language, there was so much more to adjusting to life in America that I really didn't anticipate when I came for college. From the basics of how to do your laundry to how to respond to friendly strangers who strike up conversations with you, all of these things made me feel anxious. It seems like people were speaking at a much faster pace than I was used to, and I often couldn't understand jokes fast enough. Add to that the difficulty of keeping up with the college course load, and I just felt like an overwhelming freshman year. But I don't think my experience is unique.
When I first came to America, I had a lot of questions. I was worried about my English because it doesn't sound natural, and I did not know very much about American culture. I also had questions about how to find a job in America, but it was really difficult to find resources for international students. I did not know where to go for help.
International students are hard workers, but that doesn't mean things are easy. It is because of my own personal mentors that I not only avoided a lot of mistakes, but I also gained confidence as they taught me valuable life skills and even prepared me for my future goals by advising me on my resume and my career path.
I originally became an ISMP mentor because I saw the difficulty that many international students had transitioning to studying here in America. My dad came to the US as an international student when I was young, so I got to experience some of that perspective, and I wanted to help with a program that equips students to adapt to life in a new country.
My mentors helped them so much more than just help me improve my English language skills. They have also given me career advice, helped me build good study habits, and drop off supplies during busy times. Finding a mentor was one of the best decisions I made in college.
Helping Danny achieve his goals has been really fulfilling for me as I see him grow from an anxious freshman, uncertain on how to succeed in his time in America, to being much more confident and comfortable, able to thrive both as a student and as a person.
ISMP is about helping students with things like practical workshops for English conversation, college writing, career planning and coaching. But also, our program wants to prepare students for long-term success by developing character and soft skills, things like time management or how to talk to your professor. And at the end of the day, we are passionate about mentorship because we know that these are the global leaders of the next generation.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to find out more about ISMP or apply for the mentorship program, you can find us online at internationalmentorship.org or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, WeChat, Line, or KakaoTalk. All right, now on to the presentation.
Hello everyone! Welcome to our How to Find a Job and Internship During COVID-19 for International Students webinar. My name is Din and I am a mentor at ISMP, or International Student Mentorship Program. Before we start, I want to introduce myself a little bit more. I graduated from UC Davis in 2018 with a bachelor's degree in environmental chemistry, but I am now working as a web developer at UC Davis. Some of you might wonder how I was able to find a developer job with a chemistry degree. I will tell you a little bit more about my career journey towards the end of this presentation. Today, I know a lot of you are here because of the job market situation ever since COVID-19 hit us globally. COVID-19 has changed the world, and the job market has left many feeling uncertain and anxious. Especially for international students, things can be especially challenging as perhaps many of you are overseas, and the opportunity to find a job or internship in the US may seem difficult. Plus, there are more complications that international students have to consider, given the status of the visas and the laws in the US. I acknowledge that there are a lot of fears and challenges during this time, but I also want to encourage you today on your job search journey by providing you some resources and tips that can help you navigate in your career development as an international student. So here is the breakdown for our topics tonight. First, we will go over the different requirements and legal status for international students to find a job or internship, such as your visa status, employment opportunities, and see what has changed during this time of COVID-19. Second, we will touch upon the transition into a virtual world. What are some challenges that you may face during this time, and what are some additional opportunities that have opened up for you? Then third, I will be sharing with you some practical tips on how to apply for jobs, what you will need, and what you can do to increase your chances of landing a job or internship. So let's dive into it. I wanted to start off with a quick overview of what international students have to consider when applying for a job, depending on what kind of visa that they have. This may be a refresher for many of you, but I wanted to start out with this to see what implication they have for you as an international student in this current environment. The most common student visa amongst the international student community is the F1 visa, which I'll be focusing on today. An F1 visa holder is known as the academic student whose primary goal is to enroll as a full-time student at a college, university, and other academic institution to obtain a degree, diploma, or certificate of some sort. F1 student, I'm going to briefly mention the two options you can choose to build your career path. The first one is Curricular Practical Training, or known as CPT. So what is CPT exactly? It is temporary authorization for practical training related to your major field of study. It can be paid or unpaid. This training includes employment, internship, and practicum participation. The second one is Optional Practical Training, or known as OPT. It allows students to get practical training and temporary employment as long as they are eligible. Most students use their OPT after their graduation because there is a 90 days deadline for you to find a job between the day you graduate and when your student status expires. For STEM-related OPT, you have another 60 days extension, so you get 150 days to find a job after graduation. For more information on how to apply and the specific documents that you need for CPT and OPT, be sure to utilize your school's international center that can answer your specific questions and address your question case by case to provide you the necessary document you need to apply. As of now, nothing major has changed for CPT and OPT process during the COVID-19 environment. But here are something you need to consider. If your employer and organization is located in the US, or if any of your funding, salary, and stipend comes from a US source, you must be authorized to work and have the permission and approval for you to carry out the activity in the country as an international student. While it seems that there are more constraints and limitations with COVID-19, on the flip side, there are a lot of opportunities too. Because of shelter in place, a lot of jobs and summer internships are now virtual and don't require traveling. Location is no longer a constraint, which means there are potentially a lot more job opportunities available for you. Go and search for jobs and internship on a bigger scale. That way you have a bigger search results, which may open a lot more opportunities that were not accessible to you before COVID-19. Now, I want to give you some practical tips that you can start with right away to maximize your potential to find a job during this environment. The tip number one I have for you is get connected with the right resources. Reach out to the International Student Center at your school. They can help you by providing you the latest information about international students, and they also might know of any immediate job openings that international students can apply for. They're there to help you. Therefore, I really encourage you to check out their website and even set up an interview with the center to find out what resources they can offer. Create a LinkedIn profile. This is by far the most professional networking platform you can have right now. Make sure you have a nice photo of yourself and start looking for jobs and internships to apply for. One thing many people don't know is you can join groups on different job sites that can make opportunities visible to you. For instance, you can add yourself to groups for international students on sites like LinkedIn and Indeed. LinkedIn has the filtering feature which narrows down to specific searches to meet your needs. And for Indeed, there are groups out there that you can join with job posts for international students. I will show you how to navigate through LinkedIn and Indeed. Okay, once you created your LinkedIn account, make sure you have a nice picture of yourself. And up here, you can see there's a search bar. Right here, we are going to type in our keyword. For our case, it's international students. Type it in. And what's so nice about LinkedIn is that you can actually filter out your search. So right here, you can see that there's people, there's jobs, events, and more. And if you click on this drop down more, you can find content, companies, schools, and groups. And let's click on groups. Here you can see that there's a lot of networking group for current international students or alumni. You can scroll through and you can look for your specific school. Notice that there's 100 pages. So you can definitely check this out and increase your network on LinkedIn. Now moving on to Indeed, you can see it's kind of similar built into LinkedIn, and you have two fields here: the what you're looking for and where. You can see is the default is remote because it's quite popular right now. So for keyword is, again, we want to type in international students, and they already returned you some really good results. Notice that some of them have a note that say urgently hiring. So if that's your situation, feel free to look into them. Another thing is that you can click on advanced job search. Click, and it will actually filter out what you need and what you want to look for. So what are the exact phrase that you're looking for? Look for this word in the title from this company. And where and when, and you can even put in your salary estimate. So I really encourage you to check out LinkedIn and Indeed and create an account today if you haven't. To give you an idea of what are the top companies that hire international students on OPT and sponsor H-1B visas, here's a list. Infosys Technologies Limited, Tata Consultancy Services, IBM, Accenture, Amazon, Corporate, and Google. These are the big well-known companies, but sometimes it's hard to know where to start and how to get your resume out there. I recommend connecting with a staffing agency and job recruiter. What they do is to match the companies with job candidates. They will do the work for you because they earn money when you are matched with a job. So it is in their interest to find you a job. So here's are some staffing agencies you can look into. So Randstad, Interco, Robert Half, Kelly Services, TrueBlue, Integrity Staffing Solution, and Aerotech. Okay, moving on to tip number 2 is take initiative. Taking initiative can open more doors that you didn't even know they were there before. What do I mean by this? Often, after we submit our job application, Our mindset is just to wait for the company or the HR person to get back to us and see whether or not we make the cut. But you can actually do more than that. Since it is a tough job market, consider being open to many different things. One idiom in the English language is get your foot in the door. This means that it is important just to be able to start anywhere, even though it might not be the ideal place you want to start or to be. Right now is a challenging time, so don't simply aim for a perfect job, but rather use this time to seek experience for your future job. One thing that can help you to take initiative is 3 P's. Propose and pitch a position for yourself. Propose means taking the initiative to put forward a suggestion to consider or discuss. Pitch means how well you are delivering the needs of what you are proposing. And position is the opportunity you want to seek in that company. I have a friend who was looking for a finance position in San Francisco, but she didn't have any experience to put on her resume or cover letter. It was not a field she was familiar with at all. But what she told me was she started to reach out to companies and propose the need for them to have a finance intern, and that she would be a good fit for the position as she is eager to learn and hardworking. At the time, she told the companies that she was valuing experience over money. So she volunteered at small companies without pay, but that led to expanding her resume, which led to greater opportunities. So going back to the 3 P's, my friend was proposing a position for herself, which is a finance intern, and she pitched it by telling the company she's willing to work unpaid in exchange for the valuable experience. Especially as an international student, I recommend that you always be ready with a visa proposal. What do I mean by this? A question that companies will be interested in is the question, are you an international student? Of course, they are interested in this because they need to know whether you would require sponsorship if they hire you. It will be very helpful if you are ready with a response that will keep the conversation going. Instead of just replying with a yes, prepare a response that sounds like this. Yes, I am an international student and you may be concerned about sponsorship, but I believe that I am a good fit for this position and have the eligibility for at least 1 year to work for a company. And after that, there can be many possibilities of perhaps even working in your company in another country's branch. The key here is just to keep the conversation going, and this will give the employer confidence that you have done your research and can distinguish you from others. Another way to make connection and take initiative is you can reach out to a professor, a graduate student you know, or a connection you have at a company, and come up with a position title and pitch it to them. I really want to encourage you to do beyond clicking the apply button on job post. Do some research and start calling and emailing to companies. They might be open to your proposal, and remember, even if it's not where you want to start, just get your foot in the door and gain valuable experience. Many people focus on trying to get a job at a big name company, but don't bypass potential opportunities with small businesses. You can start targeting small businesses who need a lot of help that they cannot afford. Ask them if you can provide service to meet their need, unpaid, in return for experience. For example, you can find a small business and propose to them that you would be a good candidate for a position that they may need. Some position you could propose could be social impact intern, social marketing intern, and data mining intern. Lastly, it's helpful to ask for an informal interview. What is that, you may ask? But it's asking if you can have some time with a person who you feel would be helpful to your job search and ask for 15 minutes of your time. It will create a connection and hopefully you'll leave them with a favorable impression that they can remember for the future. Here is an email sample I have for you. Dear Miss X, first of all, I hope this email finds you, your family, and your colleagues all healthy. I've been taking the coronavirus threat extremely seriously, but have also tried to live as normal of a life as possible. As an economic major originally from China, I'm exploring which career path to pursue after graduation. Public service, management consulting, and even nonprofit work at an organization such as the World Bank all sounds very interesting to me. I feel, however, that I need a clear sense of direction going forward. Would you be willing to speak with me for 15 minutes, a one-time call about your own career path, and maybe offer some advice regarding what I may want to consider going forward? Thank you for considering my request. I look forward to hearing from you. Sincerely, your name. After each informal interview that you secured, as opposed to sending a traditional thank you note, create a video to thank the person you spoke with. Take the opportunity to highlight how your professional interest, skill, experiences match the needs of the firm. Also highlight your ability to work remotely as an intern, and perhaps your knowledge of webinar technologies. My tip number 3 for you is interim and personal investment. This is your plan B and plan C. Some alternative during this time is to learn practical skills for your future career. This might not be any paid position, but could be some volunteer opportunities for you to improve in some skill areas. Even in the midst of COVID-19, you can always prepare yourself and look for volunteer opportunities. OPT allows F1 students to work up to 40 hours in volunteer work as long as it is related to your major. Especially in this challenging COVID-19 environment, this can be a path for you to maintain your visa while trying to gain some experience on your resume. You can also do contract work to gain practical skills and experience. Some websites we recommend for contract work is Upwork.com and Viro.com. Again, you just want to get your foot in the door and be open, as it can lead to more opportunities in the future. If you cannot find such position, another option is to start self-studying or work on some personal project that pertain to the field that you are targeting. The personal project don't necessarily have to be related to your career. It can be your hobbies or some skills you've been wanting to learn or to be good at. But whatever project that you create for yourself, it will be helpful to try to showcase the skills that an employer would look for. For instance, if you are looking for a data analyst role, creating a project in which you are able to show your skills through a large amount of data and analyzing trends and coming up with proposals would be very helpful. You will be able to demonstrate that you are skilled in these areas through these projects. Another plus is that as you work on these projects, you can gain skills with software that is used by the industry. Another thing you can do is to enroll in some program to gain practical skills for yourself to put on your resume to stand out from the rest of the candidates. Enroll in some programs to get a certificate of some sort. You can check out codeacademy.com, udemy.com, lynda.com, or even just YouTube some tutorial videos, and it's free. During this time, I recommend you to develop a personal portfolio to showcase your work. It could be a presentation of past projects from your classes that show skills like tackling a problem and finding a solution, samples of models or problems you worked through, websites, and designs. A portfolio ready to showcase can demonstrate to your potential interviewer that you are a highly qualified and ready applicant. I know it is hard not to be worried and anxious about your future, but I would like to suggest this mentality shift to see this unprecedented time as a time of personal investment as well. The rest of the tips are the practical tips to develop yourself professionally. Tips number 4 is refine communication and interpersonal skills. Tip number 5 is resume and cover letter. Tip number 6 is become confident with interviews. I won't go into these tips in detail because we will cover them in future ISMP webinars, but please utilize this time to develop yourself professionally. Get in a lot of practice of interviewing and polishing your resume. Last tip I have for you is to find a community. This is the most important tip I want to give you guys, is finding a community. What I mean by finding a community is not just expanding your network on social media accounts or on professional LinkedIn accounts, but rather it is to seek out opportunities to meet people who you can do life together to overcome this COVID-19 season. You don't have to carry the burden of finding a job or internship by yourself. Make sure you're surrounded by a supportive community who can help you and be there for you when you need guidance. So here's my personal story in how I find a job after I graduated from college. When I first graduated from college, I was having a really hard time getting a job, and it was before all these COVID-19 situations. Although I was diligent in my job searching, it was hard to find jobs that were related to my major and in my field. However, I was fortunate to have some good mentors who were experienced in their careers, and they encouraged me to be open to more career paths, even ones I had never considered doing before. What I ultimately ended up doing while job searching was learning how to code. I slowly built my portfolio, and by the time I get my first interview with UC Davis, I have 3 projects to showcase. I love music, and so one of the website app I coded was this pickup app. Basically, you put in the title of the song and it returned the lyrics and chords for the musician to play together. So I got to talk about my projects during my interview, and to my surprise, they hired me 3 days later. And now I work as a web developer, and I cannot be any happier. If it wasn't for receiving concrete advice from the older people and more experienced people, I really don't think I would be doing what I'm doing today. Therefore, while staying productive and constantly learning are important, finding a good community is also an important element for a successful life. I hope you find these tips helpful for you and give you a little bit more assurance in how you can cope and navigate through this difficult time. If you have any question regarding anything, feel free to reach out to me or any of our ISMP members. One last thing before we end the webinar, I really want to encourage you to continue to search and continue to apply for jobs and internships. Don't give up even though it might feel discouraging at times. And if you find yourself in need of help in any of the areas above, such as networking, improving your communication and English skills, creating or polishing your resume and cover letter, and becoming confident with interviews, I just want to let you know that we are here for you.
Thank you for joining our online webinar. We hope you found it helpful. Again, if you'd like to find out more about future webinars or the mentorship program, please check us out online at internationalmentorship.org or follow one of our social media channels. Hope to see you next time.